Going racing once again here at Hickory as the green flag waves for the restart. Ernie Irvan out front, Jim Bound and Tracy Leslie trying to get a lap back. Chuck Bound, the second place car, trying to move up along with Ricky Craven. We do have replays of the incident. We'll try to get them to you a little later. Right now, let's watch this racing on the restart here.
Yeah, every one of these restarts, Mike, it seems like the 4-car breaks around. Chuck Bound got hung up with a couple of cars, and him and Leslie got together, really had a lot of tire smoke coming off each other. Now he's got his brother in front of him.
Jim Bound qualified very well here at Hickory last November and ran well. But that car spinning in an incident of its own that did not bring out the caution is now 1 lap down. And Irvan again gets to scoot away just a bit.
Looks like Chuck's got the inside line right now. And here's Chuck down the inside. We're riding along right up off the second turn down the back straightaway.
Well, I thought Jim was going to give him a bunch of room, but he didn't give him much.
Well, what he's got to be concerned about, he wants to give his brother a little bit of room when there's about 20 of them want to take the same amount of room when they come by. So he's trying to let his brother by and no one else. It's tough to do.
Chuck Bound now moves out ahead of Jim Bound, but only by about half a car length. Meanwhile, Robert Presley has pulled his car around behind the wall to try to make repairs after being involved in that incident. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Mike, as you watch what happens here, Robert, tell us what happened on the racetrack.
We were just back there in the round. A couple more plays, and we got pinched against the wall there, and we were out for a little while.
Hey, you're working on the car now, then.
We'll go back out. We'll probably lose about 50 laps, but we'll get a few points if we can.
Okay.
That's Ricky Pearson working underneath the right front suspension of that. We'll work on that audio problem with Glenn's microphone. But Presley, dejected, got caught up in an accident not of his own making. The other car involved there, Jeff Green, was able to continue with a little sheet metal damage. Kodak Oldsmobile has opened up on the Nescafe Pontiac of Chuck Bound. Tracy Leslie and Jim Bound are still battling 1 lap behind the race leader, and that's holding up 3rd place Ricky Craven now. Craven's got Mike Wallace and Mark Martin in tow in that black car, the Winn-Dixie car. Let's ride with Mark. 5th place car here. 4th place Mike Wallace just ahead. Ooh, bang.
Boy, Mark made a move. He had followed people and followed him. He was going to try him outside. As soon as he got out there, somebody moved over on him and really put him out wide.
Well, you saw the bump. It was Mike Wallace in the 9 car trying to get outside of Tracy Leslie, who is a lap down.
On a short track, a driver, a few cars ahead of him. I think Mark read the 72 car was going to hold them up. He made that move, but at the same time, so did the 9 car. They moved over and they got tangled up.
72 is Leslie. Now Butch Miller has moved up a spot in the 75 car, chasing Jack Sprague as they work around Tracy Leslie. That's Todd Bodine in the picture as well in 34.
There's Butch Miller. We see him going outside. Leslie got down by being in that wreck early. You can see he's got a fast race car, and it's making it tough on these guys in the lead lap. Each one of them has to just fight his way past him. But this type of racing, Leslie can't just roll over and play dead. He's got to be concerned about racing himself.
58 laps complete here at Hickory, North Carolina. In front is Ernie Irvan. Chuck Bound is at 2nd. 3rd is Ricky Craven. 4th is Mike Wallace. 5th is Mark Martin. We'll be right back. Folks, while we were away, we had another spin, but for the 3rd time today, a car has spun on the racetrack, going again, no caution. Jack Sprague.
We see him going. We saw a car come across the apron, hit the 74 car, and watch, he goes completely around. There's a lot of driving schools around, but I think a lot of these guys have been going to Joey Chitwood's. They're getting better at turning these things around and keep going.
Todd Bodine took evasive action. Butch Miller was the car involved with Sprague. No caution. A little further back in the pack, these cars are on the lead lap. The blue car is the Channel Lock car of Steve Grissom, 31. Tommy Houston, who's won this race, is up on the outside of him in the Rosa Stores Ford, number 6. Jeff Green, his car a bit battered up, but still in there. Tom Peck, SK Tools 19, and David Green, the point leader, and Jeff Burton, or Ward Burton rather, in the 2 car, are all right in that pack.
Mike, I can't help but think when we see these cars running two abreast all the way around this racetrack, we were here at a time when they had a problem with the racetrack. And let me tell you, the people that own this track, they stepped up to bat. They repaved this thing and got it now. I mean, it's an excellent little racetrack, and we're seeing 2x2 all the way around the racetrack. Did a great job with it when they reworked it.
That's true. Last year we were here, the track sweeper had a good shot at a top 5 finish. And November we had a great race, caution filled. This one has been terrific. 5 spins, 2 cautions so far. Look at this pass. And back up front, Jim Bound has come to pit road. Biggest lead of the day for Ernie Irvan here.
He's really getting in a lot of traffic right now. As he goes around these guys, he's going to gradually work his way to tougher guys to lap. Each one he picks off is a little bit tougher cat and alley, and he's got to work his way all the way up there and start lapping the really good cars, and he's got to be careful when he starts doing that.
Now there's Irvan coming off the corner, going back to turn number 1. He has almost a little more than half a straightaway on the second place car, and that position has changed. Ricky Craven is now in second in the DuPont Chevrolet. Chuck Bound is third.
Craven has actually closed in on him. I don't know if it had to do with that traffic or not, but Craven, we see the orange car right there, the number 4 car, just a little bit back behind him as Craven is probably, about 12 car lengths. So I think he's moving in on him.
But most all those car lengths, Neil, are filled with cars. He comes up on Rodney Combs. That's Craven in the 99. Rodney Combs just ahead, then Tommy Sigmund and Jimmy Cope.
Yeah, and you have to do it the hard way. See, right around the outside, the tough way around. And while he's doing this, Ernie's got clear track up there, so he's getting away from him again. That's when he closed in when they got caught in that traffic earlier.
Past Jimmy Cope, and now Craven set sail for Shauna Robinson, then Bobby Hamilton, and then it'll be your leader, Ernie Irvan.
Craven's gotten around that traffic now. He's got that one car of Shauna Robinson between him. Well, I see the 68 also, but now we can see if he can close in on him a little bit. He's making real good lap times around the track right now.
Craven looking for his first win. Had a chance at one, but then who didn't at Barberville, Florida last July, was leading it, spun. Trying to run down Ernie Irvan, and he's cut that lead now to about a quarter of a straightaway.
They're running 2 different places on the racetrack. Irvan is running right in the very bottom. Craven is running about 4 foot up, which doesn't sound like much, but that's a half a lane. So he's trying a little bit different line around the track, and he's been able to gain just a little bit on Irvan.
1.3 seconds is the difference. 4th place at stake right now, Chuck Bound in 63, trying to hold off Butch Miller in 75 as they work around a couple of the lapped cars. That's that 4-car pack, and here you're with Chuck Bound as he moves around the outside of 82, Jimmy Cope. Oh, Shauna comes sliding across the nose of Chuck's car.
I think that's a case where she saw Chuck coming and wanted to pull over and get out of the way. But, I mean, we're doing this at a pretty high speed for a track this size. And quick enough to get over out of his way.
Tommy Sigmund just ahead. In the Johnny Hicks prepared car, he's gone 1 down. That's the 21. Goes down and works to move up. There's Butch Miller right there with Chuck Bound. That's for 4th place. Things are heating up for the lead now. Look at Ricky Craven. Has all but caught Ernie Irvan.
And watch the gain right here. Watch Ernie go in the corner a little bit lower. And this is where Craven's making his time, getting in the 3rd turn and getting down in turn 1. His car seems to be better entering the corner. Watch how he closes in on him. Now, Irvan snatches him up off of that corner. But, Mike, that's something that we were talking about earlier. These Winston Cup guys come into the Busch Series. They're not concerned about points, so they throw a gear in those things. I'm telling you, you wonder why Irvan comes in, Mark Martin come in. They put a gear because they're not concerned about finish. They want to win. We're seeing some of that now. We'll see Irvan snatch him off the corner with that gear, and then we'll see Craven drive the car down in the corner and gain on him.
And Butch Miller in 75, the Food Country car, the Charlie Henderson machine, finally gets underneath Chuck Bound. You can see Miller's running looks like a little lower line than Chuck is getting down. He's getting into the corner a little sooner than Chuck makes his cut into the corner, Neil.
He's running right on the bottom. Good line around the track.
And back up front, there is the race for the lead.
I tell you what this is doing, Mike. Watch how he drives in. He can almost totally catch Irvan getting in the corner, but then just the lap before as he drove in there, he got so close it almost slowed him down up off the corner. Watch him drive in. He's right up on him. Now Irvin usually pulls him right up off that corner. Folks, that doesn't look like much. But when you're dealing with a 100-foot straightaway, and a guy pulls you 5 foot, he's doing something. That's going to be his move. He's been outside all day. He's going to have to do it on the outside. Craven's doing it. Looks like he's going to make it stick out there.
He does. He pinches Ernie Irvin down, so Irvin can't accelerate up off the corner, and Craven becomes the second leader of this race at lap 87. Irvin led the first 86 circuits.
You see him wave right there, come off the corner, and he just waved to Irvin. You know, Ernie didn't give him a real hard time. He let him by 99 car, just threw his hand up and said, thanks, guy, I'm gone.
Yeah, it wasn't a free pass, but again, it wasn't hang him out there and hold him for 5 laps either. So we are 88 laps into this race. Ricky Craven, the new leader. Ernie Irvin in second, Mark Martin in third, and Butch Miller has wrestled his way up to 4th place. And as we go to break, we asked Ricky Craven, who's taken over the lead in this race. This is one of the few Saturday night special events. Are you looking forward to Hickory?
Always do. Really excited about this, Rougemont, these type of racetracks. And probably tear up a little bit of my DuPont automotive refinish on my Chevrolet, but that's tough stuff. We're going to give it a test here tonight.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Mountain Dew 400 on TNN is being brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
Going to be a short day for Dale Jarrett. Those are the new colors for his DAJ Racing team, Pick and Pay stores. But a big plume of smoke came out from behind that car as he pulls it in. Can't get behind the pit wall with all the pit equipment there, but they're going to load it up because there can't be much left of that one, Neil.
No, we're going to see the replay of this, and this is one of these where there's no doubt. We see the yellow car right here up against the wall, the 32 car. Watch him go down in this corner, right in front of the black car. Explosion. I'm talking about big time. That one went out through the bottom now, folks. That in his history. The guys behind it looked like spraying for mosquitoes there. We can't even see where they're at.
Couldn't even see Ward Burton there and Bobby Dotter.
A little bit of contact. These guys all dodging, getting out behind him.
Well, now they're going to roll Dale's car elsewhere. He thought they might be able to put it in the truck, but that is going to block a little bit of pit road, so they're going to move it in another direction, like over against the retaining wall at the inside of the racetrack, where that car should be out of harm's way.
Yeah, when you come to a track this size, we're real close on pit size. These big tractor trailer rigs, and there's just enough room to pit the car and nowhere to put them. Anywhere. Here comes Glenn out. Excuse me, Dale out. Glenn is the guy standing in the blue shirt.
We'll be back to talk with him right after this. We're at Hickory, North Carolina. You're watching Busch Grand National Series Racing live on the Nashville Network. We'll be right back.
Well, welcome back to TNN's live coverage of the Mountain Dew 400 here from Hickory, and I'm going to do an interview I didn't really want to have to do. It's my younger brother, Dale, was all smiles before that race, collected on a $25,000 bonus, being the Daytona 500 winner, but is that $25,000 going to cover that engine?
I don't know. Short day, you know. We didn't want to just make the race. We wanted to try to win, and we were doing all right. The car was a little bit tight, and I was just waiting to adjust it on a pit stop, but something broke in the engine, no warning, so Pick and Pay Chevrolet's out for the day.
Well, it looked like the car had slowed a little, but that was due to the tightness of the chassis, not the engine.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the engine at that time. I'd just gotten so tight chassis-wise. Started to pick up a little bit of a push off the corner, and that was hurting us, but it was something we could adjust, and just didn't get that far.
Well, better luck next time. Now he's got to go home and count that money, see if he's got enough to pay for that engine.
Benny Yunt and Bob Friedman had posted back in January a bonus of $25,000 if whoever won the Daytona 500 came here, entered, and competed. They didn't count on that money going just a short piece down, probably even stayed in the same bank. Ward Burton was right behind Dale Jarrett down the straightaway and into turn 1, and he did not stop. That windshield has got to be just coated, Neil.
Yeah, but that's what we look at on these short tracks. Track positioning is so critical. Yep. If he can see it all, he's got to go to his normal stop or to get him out of sync on what he's doing. He's going to try to stretch it. The only one we did see was Chuck Bound came in, and you get one tire per position. He put them all his own, so he's got all the rubber he can use.
Chuck Bound got 4 tires. Bobby Dotter got a couple on pit stops. We're back under green at lap 107 of 300. Irvin inside for the lead. He may get it at turn 3. Ernie Irvin takes the bottom away from Ricky Craven, but Craven has been strong on the top.
Irvin made a real good jump on the start of that race. His car had been good. The longer they ran, the better Craven got. maybe the 4 car's a little loose. He's good real quick like that. They got Craven hung outside. There's Mark Martin. Here's Mark's car coming right up behind Ernie off that corner.
Mark keeping it low, clears Ricky Craven.
See the back end hang out on the 4 car? It slipped up off the corner. That enabled the 60 car to get on the inside. We haven't seen the 4 run outside all day long. Let's see if he can make it out there.
Oh, here comes Martin. On the bottom, the 4. Little push there in the middle of the corner. And they're side-by-side into one again.
Well, one thing about these 6-cylinders, they aren't real strong. A little push comes in handy every now and then.
I mean, it looked like Mark had a little push. Not from Ricky Craven. He does now.
Oh, he got more than a little push.
Ricky.
He got just a little more push right there. Got the 2 leaders sideways.
And there's Joe Nemechek.
Now this is when you really run hard, when the guys are coming back to catch you.
Todd Bodine gets underneath Mark Martin. Mark with his hand in the air there. Now drops back in line.
Yeah, Mark just trying to get. Let me tell you, when you get in that outside lane like Mark did, you pick up that trash over the tires, and it takes a lap or 2 to get the car back under you again.
Martin okay now, but cannot enjoy sitting in 4th place after that bump from Ricky Craven. There's one of the most intense young men in this business. Hard at work.
And he loves it. I walked by earlier this morning. I said, when I asked Steve Mills, he said, Jack Roush is even here. I said, what are you guys doing? This is an off week. He said, man, we race every day. We'd rather be here than at home. And everywhere there's a race, they're racing somewhere.
There are a lot of racing wives around the country that have heard that.
Yeah.
And girlfriends.
We see Nemechek now coming up there on Craven. He's able to close in on him. Craven, when he took the lead a while ago, drove away for a while. It looks like Nemechek might have a little something for him.
All right, Ricky Craven's pit has been warned by NASCAR about rough riding. Let's show you again what happened as he was in 3rd place.
You know, this got in there real hot. And, you know, I mean, he came in real hot. The 2 leaders were side by side, and you can't tell what caused that. I mean, it could have been a case he just couldn't get the car slowed down. But when something happens like that, NASCAR's going to call that pit and tell them what's going on.
And what we saw there, what could have been a contributor was Mark Martin might have got in there low on Ernie Irvan and checked up so he wouldn't slide up into Ernie.
Anytime you get in there like that, you've got to get out of the throttle a little bit quicker. You might have lifted a little bit. Craven wasn't expecting it.
Craven has the lead. And look who's in 2nd place, defending series champ Joe Nemechek.
You know, it's hard for me to sit and explain and say reasons why, because I'm telling you, that's just going to happen with short track racing. It's just a brand of this type racing. I think that's one reason the fans like it. When they brought those race cars here, they didn't plan on taking them back brand new, but you just got to be careful what you do, because I'm telling you, make them too aggressive a move and they'll put you in the pits.
Well, now we have Busch Grand National Series regulars in 1st through 4th position. There's Craven in 99, the leader. Nemechek in the Dentine car right behind him in 2nd place. Todd Bodine in the 34 car. There's Todd. He's 3rd in that red, yellow numeral car just behind the leader.
Catching your attention there, Mike. The 8 car come up off the 4th turn completely sideways like a dirt track. Got it straightened out while we're watching 1st and 2nd here.
Jeff Burton's car has been pretty loose all day. And Butch Miller is 4th, so that's 4 Busch guys, then Irvan and Mark Martin. Or rather, Mark Martin is back there a little further.
The thing you got, well, here we're seeing Nemechek trying to get down the inside line. He's trying to get the nose up under the 99 car. Craven leaves that inside open. His car is working a little bit higher. He gives it to you, not right here, but off the 3rd and 4th turn. Craven will be a little bit higher, and he gives that inside lane to you. But it's hard to get a bite there and get up under him. See, he's got that car up high, but you just can't drive up under him at that part of the track.
A lot of action here at Hickory today. Up front, Ricky Craven. And in hot pursuit, Joe Nemechek. A little further back, there's Steve Grissom, 31, the blue car in the middle of that pack. He's been racing with Jack Sprague and Jeff Burton all day. Trouble in 2. Richard Lassiter's against the fence. That's the High Point betting car.
Chuck Brown throwing his hand up, telling everybody, hey, we're slowing down.
I don't think the wall is as soft as some of those mattresses.
No.
But it looked like he didn't hit it too hard.
Even on these little small racetracks, you can back it up in the wall at 50 or 60 miles an hour, you can do some damage.
Caution out about lap 125.
That's Mark Martin explaining to the 4 car what happened. Mark just pulled right up beside the 4 car. He's telling him somebody got into him.
Got himself a little shove there. Ernie might have thought Mark came up into him and probably didn't see the bump with Ricky Craven. Joe Nemechek's the defending champion of the Busch Series. And we asked him about racing here at Hickory, a track with more tradition than any place else that these fellas go.
Well, it's fun. It's probably one of the most exciting racetracks the fans can view a race, and also from the drivers. There's so many different ways you can get around Hickory Motor Speedway to go fast. So we have a lot of fun.
130 laps in at Hickory out of 300. A number of teams have come in, including Mark Martin, and put on tires under this caution. Hermie Sadler is in. Shauna Robinson. Ward Burton took him a car stopped out on the racetrack. Took him a long time to get around and get back to his pit. The track truck had to go out and give him a push. He may have lost some laps there in the process. Check the score and you can see. The car appeared to be parked there for some time. At least a lap or two.
Yeah, he just stopped on the back straightaway like the ignition went out on it.
Hermie Sadler had a great run up at Bristol last week. Top rookie of that race. Here's the way they're running at 131 laps. There's your top 5. David Green, who started way out back with a provisional spot, has ridden his way up to 5th. 1 lap to go before we get racing. And let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Mike, I'm standing with Freddie Fryer. He's a crew chief on Ward Burton's car. Freddie, what happened out there?
Apparently we had an ignition problem that just stopped on the backstretch on that caution, and he switched the boxes and got it going again. We came back around. Apparently that's what was wrong.
Okay, Ward was able to correct it himself. One further thing about this team, Penny Dillard, the wife of car owner Alan Dillard, had rotator cuff surgery this week. We want to wish her the best. Penny, God bless you and get well soon.
There's Burton moving around. He is 2 laps down as we go back to Green at lap 132. Craven the leader, Nemechek right with him. Here comes Lassiter right out in front of traffic, and they squeeze past him. Tense moment there as the car that brought out the caution completed its pit stop. That's the yellow car number 5. Mark Martin all the way at the back of the field, along with Butch Miller and some of those other cars. There he is behind Jeff Burton. Mike Wallace just ahead. Those cars stopped and got tires on this caution, and Neil, we're still a little shy of halfway.
Yeah, that's pretty early. You know, a lot of guys are making gambles by getting earlier in the race, putting their tires on their 4 allotted tires, and then just try to get some track positioning later when the leaders do pit. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. That plays out right there. There's Mark Martin up under the 8 car. They got together going down in turn 3.
And Ernie Irvan coming along right with him, who also made a stop under that caution. Up front, Craven and Nemechek are trying to sprint away from this field and doing a pretty good job of it. Now, they don't have to make a pit stop. It's not mandatory. Although 300 laps, it's a long way to go on a tank car. Irvan in the wall, turn 1, and he hit it a good shot with the right front. Caution, lap 137.
I've been seeing there we see Chuck Valentine. Everybody slow down again. But I've been seeing a little bit of smoke out of the rear of the 4 car. I don't know what happened, if that had anything to do with it, but the last couple laps we had some smoke coming out of that car.
That car had been a rocket, and again, it may help to illustrate the difficulties in coming from the back of the field back to the front in this heavy traffic.
It wadded it up pretty good.
And Ernie's undoing the belts. He's going to climb out okay.
These little cars here are real light and fast. I went by that car and it had 1 gauge in it, a water temperature gauge. He said, we're going to put a tack in it, add some more. They're so concerned about weight, they get them light.
He didn't make enough money to put a tack in it today, I don't think. We're under caution for the 5th time today. We'll be right back to Hickory live on TNN. Ernie Irvan has climbed out of his Kodak Films Old after hitting the right front, a good shot into the retaining wall at turn number 1. He is okay. Well, that car looks a little crumpled. We're going to show you a car that looks a little different too as part of our TNN photo fake out. You can win some neat prizes if you can identify what's wrong with the picture you'll see here in just a second.
Can you spot what's wrong with this picture? If you can, you can win a trip for 2 to the Pie Royal 500 in Phoenix, Arizona on October 31st. Just call 1-900-454-4TNN. Each call costs 95 cents per minute. Average call 2 minutes. No phone call necessary to enter. Or send your answer along with your name, address, and phone number on a postcard to this address. All correct entries will be eligible to win the grand prize, a consumer sports package of the make and model of the winning race car of the Laneco 200, airing on TNN May 23rd. The winner of this TNN Racing Photo Fakeout game will be announced Sunday, April 18th on race day. Be sure to watch TNN's coverage of NASCAR's Busch Grand National Racing to play the next game.
What's wrong with it? Ernie's car's not dented up.
I think I got it. I want to vote this time. I never get to, anytime I know what's going on, I never get to call in. Now, that looks a little bit different right there.
Yeah, it does. That right front is really shoved back up under there. I mean, the sheet metal's all a mess.
They build these cars a lot lighter than the Speedway cars. When I say that, I'm not talking about the roll bar structure, but just all the components are built as light as possible for the short track racing. And when they take a lick, it does a pretty good bit of damage to them.
One lap will go back to racing. We're still 8 laps shy of halfway. Ernie is okay. In fact, Glenn Jarrett's caught up with him. Glenn?
Ernie, terrific impact out there. What happened?
Well, you know, only thing I could think is a 99 hit Mark and knocked Mark up into me when we were running there in the front. Must have broke something in the suspension, and finally, whatever it was, broke all the way when we went into turn 1, and just drove right in the fence.
Well, you look okay, but the car is pretty well torn up.
The car's hurt real bad. It's a shame. It's our favorite race car, and guys will put it back together. You know, I want to thank Kodak and Chevrolet, and all them guys back at Morgan McClure Racing will be ready to go come Wilkesboro time.
You can bet they'll have that car ready again, too.
Thanks, Glenn. We're back under green at lap 143. Craven at the front. And again, Nemechek right with him as Tracy Leslie trying to get back on the lead lap this time. And he's unsuccessful. You're riding with Chuck Bound. He's back about mid-pack. Right up underneath Steve Grissom in the Channel Lock car. Let's see, Craven's the leader. Nemechek is second. Todd Bodine has moved up to third. Fourth is Tommy Houston. Fifth is David Green, and so sixth is Grissom, and Bound was seventh. Eighth is Bobby Dotter. He's having a good run here today. Around goes Tommy Sigmund in turn 4. And way up and in the air goes Bobby Hamilton, fighting for control, and he takes Mark Martin to the wall with him.
Boy, you could see that coming. They got up there, and then he crawled all the way up the side of Mark. He couldn't help it. There was a wreck that just started stacking up in front of him.
Yeah, that happened way in front of those two cars. They just got caught up in it. Hamilton miraculously can drive away. That car was way up in the air. And Mark Martin, the left front's going to be pretty crunched. In about a second here, you're going to see why. He's ready to climb out. Trying to run his way up from the back. The belt's coming off. He's going to undo that radio. And the helmet. Still a picture of concentration.
Looks like he's okay, Mike.
Yep, tough day of it for Mark Martin. We've got 2 replays to show you. Let's take a look here at what happened.
We see the car turn around there.
Tommy
21 car,
Sigmund.
Sigmund's backwards. Okay, now the 68 bounces up in the air off of one car, crawls right up on top of Mark Martin. And once they get caught right there, I mean, it's done tore the suspension, the steering components out in front of both cars, straight in the wall.
Yeah, what would have been a harmless spin by Tommy Sigmund in 21. The 5 car was the jam in the sandwich, Lassiter, and then Hamilton got up and onto Mark Martin.
You know,
and there they are on the fence.
Mike, if this ever shows us what we keep talking about, track positioning, these particular drivers had just pitted and went to the rear,
right,
and they got real fast race cars trying to work their way back to the front. It's so critical coming back through that traffic, getting back up front.
So for Mark Martin, the strategy of stopping early and trying to work track position through the field did not pay off today, nor did it for Ernie Irvan. We're under caution, the 6th of the day, live on TNN at Hickory, North Carolina. We'll be right back.
TNN's exclusive coverage of the Mountain Dew 400 is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
Welcome back to Hickory. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet and Glenn Jarrett on pit road. Well, Neil said at the top of the show they look like brightly painted Easter eggs. Now there's a bunch of scrambled eggs out there.
Yeah, and that little tulip, we're not tiptoeing through them. We're running through them today.
Pretty hard. Now, folks, if you want to be a professional race car driver, let's show you what it's like from Mark Martin's point of view.
Whoa, that's when you want to get out if they do that.
Neil, I think the hardest part is seeing that wall coming up fast, knowing it's coming in hard.
And one thing that gets you too is you saw that wheel climb up the driver's door right across the left front fender. As long as they beat on any part of the car, I never mind. When they start beating on my door, they always got my attention. They get too close. Did a lot of damage to that car. When you pin one of them against the wall like that, even though the sheet metal's gone, it usually really squishes the frame or diamonds it. So they'll be lucky if that car's not, the frame's not messed up on it the way it got hit and pinned on the wall.
Well, I hope that Winn-Dixie Ford is different from the one he's been winning with. He joins Ernie Irvan, Robert Presley, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Green, and Jim Bound out of this race. Glenn?
Well, Mike, I'm standing by with Steve Mill, who's the crew chief on Mark Martin's car, and now you got nothing to do the rest of the day. Did Mark say what happened out there?
Well, we took a chance pitting early because track position means so much. We wanted to come before the rest of the leaders did. Then they had to come and get tired behind us and go around us. And we thought in a 300 lapper on a little bitty racetrack, track position would hold true and help us at the end. The gamble was in running up through the traffic before everybody else pitted. If we'd have made it through that last little bit, we'd probably been all right. But we'll never know because we didn't make it. A lot of good fast cars, tight little racetrack. It's just racing.
Okay, like you said, just one of those things that happened. The car is being towed in now. It's pretty well torn up. Mark is okay. He had already gone into the trailer to change clothes, or we would have talked to him, but he just had to go in and get pulled off a little bit. He wasn't upset. Just one of those things that happens.
Well, we get to see a lot more of this kind of racing on TNN coming up Saturday, May 8th. From the Martinsville Speedway, the Miller Genuine Draft 500. Swiss Grand National portion of that event will be live on TNN 1 p.m. Saturday, May the 8th. Blizzarded out back in March, but we'll bring it to you live when the weather is a little warmer and the dogwoods and azaleas are in bloom up at Clay Earls Track. May 8th on TNN.
I was nervous when I came in today. It was so clean today, so pretty. I figured they'd call this one because of good weather. We haven't had these kind of days.
Windy, 23-mile-an-hour wind here. Shouldn't be much of a factor. One to go. We're going to go racing. Robert Presley is back in the race. He's 113 laps down. Jim Bound is 77 laps down, but they're going to cruise around and collect some points here today.
Hey, where he's going, they might still have a shot at it.
You're not kidding. It is still Ricky Craven and Joe Nemechek at the front of the field. Todd Bodine is third. Tommy Houston fourth. David Green is fifth. Sixth is Steve Grissom. Seventh is Chuck Bound. Eighth is Bobby Donner. Ninth is Mike Wallace. And 10th is Jeff Burton. They are all Busch Series regulars in the top 10 right now. In fact, of the Winston Cup drivers that started this race, they're gone. All of them. All four.
I'm going to make a prediction that a Busch driver wins today. Will that go in there anywhere?
I don't know, but look at this. 3 wide down the back straightaway.
That ain't going to work.
Nemechek on the inside. Craven in the middle of the sandwich. Leslie trying to get a lap back. Can't do it. I can't believe they got through turn 3.
Well, they did, but at a very reduced rate of speed. They slowed them down going down in there.
And that everything didn't stack up behind them. Here's Todd Bodine for second place. Todd Bodine fully recovered from that horrendous crash at Rockingham, running hard on Ricky Craven now for third. The Fiddle Battle car, 34.
We see Nemechek leading over there. He'd been all over Ricky Craven, and once he got away, I was wondering if he could put some distance on him, and he's doing that right now. Spin in turn 4 again.
And there are 4 of them as you look at the Napa Field standing update, brought to you by Napa because there are no unimportant parts.
There was 4 plus 2. And here comes the leaders around. Whoa, me. And some guys trying to get their lap back, racing to the line. That's what causes the problem. Luckily, nothing happened coming back around.
Well, I think Robert Presley got one of his 113 laps back. Jack Sprague got one. Tom Peck was back there as well. Although I'm not sure if Peck might have been on the tail end of the lead lap.
Was they went down in the 3rd turn, they just started stacking up. And they all got up there and just kind of parked the cars. They didn't have a lot of damage, all the cars cranked up and drove away.
Cars you're looking at now out of the race. Although Jeff Green's gotten back in and Jim Bound, they haven't completed enough laps. Neither has Robert Presley to move up on the board. Well, we'll show you this one again. This wasn't just a sandwich. It was one of those Dagwood deals. By the time you got all these guys stacked up.
See him going down in the third turn. There's the 8. Yeah, the 8 car. Jeff Burton turned around. Shauna Robinson. 74 car because, well, then they just start trying to stop, and it's amazing how quick these cars can stop with the braking systems they have now. But
on the restart, Joe Nemechek out with the lead. A lapped car separating him from second place Ricky Craven. That'll be the 57 of Jason Keller. 5 lead changes thus far among 4 different drivers. Back in the pack a little bit, there's David Green, 44, the Slim Jim car, the point leader. Back of Tommy Houston. Steve Grissom is right with Green. Both on the lead lap. And Craven gets underneath the rookie driver from Greenville, South Carolina there. And bangs him in the door, and under goes Todd Bodine and Tommy Houston. Everybody gets through. But that will cost Craven second place. Todd Bodine moves up.
yeah, he was able to get around the guy he was racing with, but he got tangled up with him and lost 2 positions. If you get the least bit out of shape, you're going to have some guys drive right on by you.
That'll extend Nemechek's lead a little bit. There's Jeff Burton working the outside. Look at the right side of Craven's car. The wheel mark behind the right front wheel. He can only hope that that brush with Keller did not ruin the alignment on the right front of that car.
Yeah, we'll see when he comes around this time. Here are leaders. We'll see if we can get back here and take a look at Craven's car. Look at the damage right behind the wheel. Just like Mike said, how much did it lean on that suspension? He's had one of the fastest cars all day. We'll just have to see if it's hurt him in the long run. While I'm saying that, he's reeling Todd Bodine in. If it did anything, might have helped him some.
Looks like, Neil, that whole wheel mark is behind the right front wheel. So he caught it all with a sheet metal. Which would be pretty good. Keller's holding his own. He's dropped back in the pack a little bit. Was already laps down.
Here he is trying to get up under him off the corner.
Craven trying the inside on Todd Bodine. This for second place. Tommy Houston is right there.
Here's where we've had trouble. When they drive in the corner hard, they move the outside guy a little wider than he wants to run. That's what's tough on the guy running the outside lane. As they come off the corner, you've got to leave that guy room out there.
Todd Bodine's done a good job with this team. They pick up his sponsor into the season.
There he got by him, Andy.
Yep.
Craven cleared him enough that he can move up, use the entire track to run a pattern now.
Yep, Todd will drop to third place. Craven in second, and here's your leader, Joe Nemechek. This time around, we'll give you a look at the separation that he has on that battling that's been going on back and forth behind him. About 1.3 seconds between Nemechek coming out of 4. There's Ricky Craven. Todd Bodine now has his hands full with Ward Burton, who is 2 laps down after the ignition cut off.
Yeah, he was running exceptionally well. The ignition cut off on him, and he lost those 2 laps still on the racetrack. He hasn't lost a lot while he's running. He's right up here with the leaders, just 2 down.
12 cars on the lead lap here. 119 laps to go.
Boy, Nemechek showed a lot of patience coming up through that traffic early. We saw him follow the guys, follow him. When the door opened, he went on through. Now that he's got out there, he's put some distance on him.
Tommy Houston's cleared Tracy Leslie some of the lap traffic. David Green now in 44. Steve Grissom in 31. And these are the fellows that you would expect to be up front in a race like this on these shorter tracks. You're watching from Chuck Bound's car. He's right in the thick of it.
You know, the bulk of these guys that run this series have ran hundreds of these races like this. And when they come back, they're almost content. Hey, let's get away from Daytona. Let's get away from the big racetrack. Let's go back and play a little bit. And that's what you see these guys doing. It's a lot of fun to come to these smaller racetracks and really go after each other.
Nemechek's best finish this season, second at Richmond. He was fourth at Bristol, ninth at Daytona, his only top 10 postings. Trying to become the first driver since Larry Pearson to repeat as series champion. Pearson in 1986 and 87 won the title.
Here's Nemechek coming up on some lap cars. The 2 cars in front of him were running side by side. There's Shauna Roberts. She's moving over to the outside. Joe's coming up on the inside. Gave him plenty of room to get up off that corner.
Joe's last win in this series came last August at New Hampshire on the 1 mile oval there that will be at a couple of times this year for TNN, including their first ever Winston Cup race. Chuck Bown ahead of Butch Miller. Let's give you a look you won't often see. Well, you won't ever see, except perhaps here on TNN. That's the right rear spring nearest to you, that yellow coil spring. Now in the lower right-hand corner, that spinning white piece is the drive shaft, and then the yoke is black, and you can see the pulley for the differential cooler there and its belt being turned by the drive shaft.
You have the spring on the far right. You notice it hardly ever moves. All the work is on that right rear. And we'll look at 600 gear. See the 600 on the side of the rear end housing? He's pulling a 600 ratio. That's one reason they're turning the RPM so much in these cars on this size racetrack.
Neil, how much of a difference do you run right to left for rear springs?
This is probably like a 250-pound right rear that's showing on the left of the screen is probably 250 rate, and that's a 200 over on the other side. Even though you have 55% left weight, you nail that left rear tire down, drive it in the ground where to get a good bite, and you let the right rear do all the traveling.
Bound getting passed by Butch Miller and Bobby Dotter here. Ooh, no, trouble. And around went David Green. Shauna Robinson stopped just shy of him, and here they all come to the flag, trying to hustle back around and stay on the lead lap. It was the 44 car of David Green, the series point leader, that went around at lap 192 to bring out our 8th caution. You see how that one got started as we were watching Chuck Bound and Butch Miller move up into the midst of that action.
I'll tell you who was coming trying to get a lap back. Was Nemechek was leading the race, and Ward Burton in the 2 car was really gaining on him.
Let's see if we can see what happened here to David Green in 44.
Well, they spun right up in front of him here, and we see what happens. Everybody's getting on the brakes. It's hard to tell what caused it, but he was already turned around and sitting in the middle of the track.
Well, that yellow car, Bobby Dotter, dodged a bullet down to the inside. Made a great escape. We're under caution for the 8th time today here at Hickory, North Carolina. 194 laps are complete, and all the leaders will pit. Here comes Nemechek, Craven, Bodine, Houston, and Grissom. We're back at Hickory, North Carolina, and Chuck Bown is the new leader. Bobby Dotter is second, Butch Miller is third, and Jack Sprague is fourth. They hope to get a restart this time, but they're still shuffling that deck of cars on the lead lap and cars a lap down, trying to get in line. David Green has gone up to the head of the outside line. He is 1 lap back. Getting set to go back to racing. There's the top 5 the way they're running. Joe Nemechek was the race leader, but he had a long pit stop to take on 4 tires, as did Tommy Houston under that caution flag. Steve Grissom came in twice for 2 tires each time. The rest of the leaders, Todd Bodine stopped as well. Mike Wallace as they work their way back up from the back of the pack. Let's ride along.
Chuck Bound, nothing in front of him but racetrack. We should get a little bit of distance on these other guys, but he got somebody banging on the back bumper right now.
Nothing in front, but plenty behind him. Bobby Dotter all over him for the lead. DeWalt Tools folks have a lot of people here, and Dotter wants to lead this race for him.
The last time, right above this corner, Dotter was really shoving on the back of his car.
David Green in 44, the point leader, remains a lap down. Ward Burton still 2 laps down. There's his 2 car right side of your screen. Then it's Butch Miller, who's in 3rd place. Jason Keller, Jack Sprague, and then Ricky Craven, who is 4th.
There was Dotter. We saw him all over the back of the 63 car. There's Butch Miller coming down on the inside.
Butch is going to be there.
He got in and got the fender tore off that lap.
Yep.
He went down under the blue car on the inside, running about the 3rd group back right there, 3rd lane back.
75.
75. He drove down under him and got the right front fender pulled loose as he went down in that corner.
Shouldn't hurt him too badly.
No.
And that's just fiberglass, that bumper cover.
On tracks this size, most of that stuff just going along for the ride.
It's like the NFL used when they have tearaway jerseys. That's what the noses are on some of these cars. Now let's go back and look at the drivers who made pit stops. There's 87 Nemechek, 34 Todd Bodine, 31 Steve Grissom just ahead of them, and 6 Tommy Houston. They're trying to pick their way up through, and they're back about 15th in line.
And we've already seen what can happen by having to do this, come back up through traffic. There's Nemechek right in the middle of the big Packer cars now.
You can't go forward and you can't go back.
No, you just got to be careful if somebody doesn't cause a problem in front of you. You know, you get wound up in it. Nemechek's one, be careful. There he is right there. See, he's down inside.
Got Tommy Houston.
Yeah, got click on that right front.
There's Todd Bodine up alongside.
What you got to be concerned about, these are 2-ply sidewalls in these tires, and you touch somebody, you blow a tire. Matter of fact, Nemechek right front. He's got some damage, got a little contact.
Now this is all happening about a quarter lap behind the leader, but it looks like they are gaining on the front pack. Back up front. Chuck Bound has been passed by David Green. That'll put Green on the tail end of the lead lap. Here comes Ward Burton in the Hardee's number 2.
He's 2 down, and he's fixing to get one of his back.
Yep.
Which, you know, Mike, what they got to be concerned about, here's Chuck Bound. He made his stop fairly early in the race. He's got to save some tires. The other guys are coming at him with fresh stuff. He's got to try to save something. Though he let these lap cars by. Butch Miller trying him on the outside. We're going to see the 2 car go by, and you're going to see Butch Miller pull right up on the outside.
Yeah, Chuck's car is a little used up right now. And this will be for the lead. The next car, there's 75, the Food Country car of Butch Miller. That's the lead right there with Chuck Bound and 63, the Nescafe Pontiac.
It's Butch Miller trying to take the lead away. See that damage over, you see the right front damage. Here's Chuck Bound, drives back up under him. Butch is going to get up tight as he can up off the corner beside him. Butch is kind of in a box right there. He's got to deal with that car in front of him as he passes these other cars.
They used that lap car just in front of Bound, the 21 Tommy Sigmund, as a pick. Kept Bound down to the inside, and Butch squished him behind the lap car and went around. New leader, Butch Miller. In the Hoosier Shot car, Bob Newton's little upstart tire company from Indiana now leads this race. 86 laps to go at the Hickory Motor Speedway in the Mountain Dew 400, live on TNN. Butch Miller, the leader. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hickory. We're under the 9th caution of the day. Jack Sprague had a big spin down the front straightaway here. There's Sprague. See how the back end is a bit stove in. Let's show you what happened.
There we come up. He's on the outside. We see him just get the back end of the car out from under him. Headed down that inside wall, and it's going to turn completely around. Here he is on the outside. I don't think anyone touches him. I think he just gets in the throttle and turns the car around right there. And as it comes on around, watch it back down and back into the concrete wall right here. Pretty good shot into that inside wall, but he was able to crank up. He's still out there running.
There's Sprague's car getting a little surgery. Ward Burton picked up one of the 2 laps that he was down, and David Green, you remember, went past Chuck Bound, so David Green is now back on the tail end of the lead lap. Hickory Motor Speedway started in 1951. It's the 2nd oldest weekly track under NASCAR sanction. The oldest, I was incorrect last November, the oldest is Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They've got a 200 lapper for the modifieds coming up there fairly soon.
No wonder Bowman Gray has been there forever, I believe.
I think so. Since Columbus. Let's go to the pits. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, one of the guys that slipped in that and made a pit stop a while ago when they had that last caution was Ricky Craven. Now, Ricky was running second that time. He only took on 2 tires, so they made a gamble. They thought that they could get him out ahead of that traffic that Nemechek and Grissom and those guys have had to contend with. So he has come back up through the field really quick. He's got fresh right sides on. The left sides, they get a lot of wear here, but we're going to find out just how important they are. There's 1 to go. He's already moved back up into 2nd spot. They may have made the best move of anybody out here.
He could have, Glenn. Chuck Bound goes to the pit. There is Craven. He's the second place car behind Butch Miller as they check the tire pressure on the right front and make a big chassis change at the left rear.
Yeah, he's telling them it's okay. They wanted to look at some stuff. Maybe he ran over something.
All right, here's the way they're running as we get ready to restart. Up front is Butch Miller in 75. Second, Ricky Craven in 99. Third is Bobby Dotter, the 08. Fourth, Steve Grissom in 31. Tommy Houston in 6 is fifth. Joe Nemechek in 87 is sixth. Mike Wallace is seventh. Todd Bodine is eighth. Jeff Burton is ninth. Tom Peck is the 10th place car. Back in 11th is Joe Bessie. 12th is David Green. And 13th, Chuck Bound. They're all in the lead lap.
Mike will see Butch Miller leading the race. We're sending Glenn's going to go down and check and see where they are, where the 75 car is pit-wise. You know, I'm not real sure if they've been in there, if they've changed tires, or where they stand, but he's running awful strong right now.
Of the cars that pitted on the last caution at lap 192, Steve Grissom has moved up to 5th spot. And he has Houston and Nemechek with him. The big question will be how much of their tires did they use up getting there?
Yeah, and you can do it easily on a track like this where you really abuse it working that traffic. Even though you put new tires on, you get everybody else the goods out of them. You're just racing on virtually the same type tires, so we'll have to see how much they have left.
Butch Miller this year has one top 10 finish, 9th at Rockingham.
You know, I was wondering, we see Miller leading the race right here. Ricky Craven stopped just a little bit earlier, put some tires on. He's having a little bit of trouble right now getting around the 72 car to get to Miller.
And Steve Grissom has caught him in 31, the Channel Lock car.
Yeah, Grissom did 4 tires. The 99 car just did 2. And right here we see Grissom right up under him. You might pay the price for going with 2 instead of 4, even though you had track positioning. Grissom did move around him.
And so now Steve Grissom, who won that crash-marred race at Barberville, Florida last July, his only win of the year, is on the move and on the trail of the leader. Trouble in 4. Jeff Burton is around. Ward Burton goes down pit road to miss him. We'll have a caution. 10th of the day, lap 229. And he cannot get back to the line ahead of Butch Miller. Miller was trying to hold back the 72 of Tracy Leslie. Had to race him to the line.
Boy, and Leslie almost got into the back of the car that had just spun as they came back up to speed. It was close.
Butch Miller out in front. As you look at Jeff Burton, and let's see what happened to him here.
See this group of cars going down in turn 3. The 8 car got a little bit loose getting in the corner and got out into the other car on the outside. He comes on around.
Boy, nice save by Jason Keller and a nice drive by Hermie Sadler to miss him right between the two of them. And then Ward Burton takes off down pit road.
Yeah, Ward went down pit. There's a speed limit on pit road, but in a case like that, where it's evasive, they never complain. They let you drive right on through.
This man, Butch Miller, has 2 Busch Series victories, the last of which was this race 2 years ago. Here's Glenn.
Well, Mike, Butch Miller did make a stop. He stopped on about lap 130, so that's pretty early. That's not quite halfway, so his tires are pretty well worn as compared to Steve Grissom, the 99 car, and also Joe Nemechek. So, you know, it's going to be testy as to whether he can go, or whether he can maintain good speed to keep that car out front. Those tires are fresh. 4 fresh tires on them are going to be a lot stronger than his car is now. So he's got a pretty tough task in hanging on to the lead.
They'll recognize, too, Miller is on the Hoosier tires, and his closest pursuer there, Steve Grissom, Goodyear mounted.
Yeah, there's kind of a constant little battle going on in the Busch Series among these 2 manufacturers. And every week it's just a race in itself to see who's got the best stuff.
68 laps to go. Green flag. Miller gets a good jump on Steve Grissom. He needed a good jump because Tracy Leslie is right there with him, still struggling to get back on the lead lap. It's Miller, Grissom, Craven in 3rd, Dotter in 4th, and Tommy Houston in 5th. 6th is Nemechek, 7th, Mike Wallace, 8th, Todd Bodine, 9th is Tom Peck. Back in 10th, Joe Bessie, then Chuck Bound. A lot of smoke out of Leslie's car. He got banged from the back by Hermie Sadler. Might be a tire rub there.
Here's Grissom. While that's going on, Grissom's all over the back of Butch Miller. And Grissom has 4 new tires he put on just a few laps ago. We'll have to see if he can do anything with Butch Miller. Butch is probably going to make him do it the hard way on the outside.
Yeah, there's Tracy Leslie. No touch of that smoke right now, but he has dropped back a bit to the tail end of the field. Back up front, Miller and Grissom are going at it for the lead.
Grissom seems to be able to get down in the corner good, and Miller seems to be able to get off the corner. Seems like Butch is able to run him off the corner, and Grissom gains getting in the corner on him.
Miller's tires are 100 laps old. Grissom's only 40. And there are 63 laps to go.
See what we're talking about. There's very little straightaway. That was looking at the front straightaway. They're turning constantly on the racetrack, and that's one thing that's real abrasive on the tires. The car is constantly turning under power and when you're braking the car.
Top 5 running single file will take this pause from Hickory. Butch Miller, Steve Grissom, Ricky Craven, Bobby Dotter, and Tommy Houston. We're back at Hickory, North Carolina, and surprise, we're under caution again. Bobby Hamilton's car is up against the fence in the back straightaway, but he was the last car in to what started out as a 1-car spin and then became a 3-car jam session. Let's show you what happened.
It's almost like 3 different wrecks, Mike, as this thing unfolds. This is coming up off turn 2. 25 car was up in the wall while this going to 2 was down on the grass. Watch the 25 try to get back up to speed. He's coming out. He clips the car of Bobby Hamilton, turns him right straight into the wall. The Hamilton car had been damaged pretty bad on the right side already. That one right there finished it off.
Let's have a look from Chuck Bound's car at what happened.
Here Chuck shift gears there. He shoved it up 3rd gear to get on out of the way of the accident, then pull her back and forth. A lot of problems you have in a wreck like that is stopping too quick and get hit from the rear. Chuck shifted into 3rd gear when the opener came, and he went right on through the wreck.
Rookie mistake perhaps on Sadler's part by pulling out and coming down the racetrack?
Mike, it's hard to say. When you're on that outside lane, you got the tires and old scrubby stuff up there, and you turn, and sometimes the car won't turn in the direction it wants to go. But he definitely came out and clipped the car Bobby Hamilton, whatever the reason was.
Don't know if Hamilton would have been able to avoid him otherwise. We'll never know. Coming up live on TNN, one hot night, they called it last year, and it sure lived up to its billing. It's the Winston. It's NASCAR's all-star night. The Winston Open and the Winston. May 22nd is this year's date. Mark your calendar. Live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Now here's the 8 car, which must have saved some tires because they're looking at the damage they have. The inspector's looking at it. I've been seeing smoke come out of the rear of that car. And that inspector was standing right there. Sometimes they make him pull that wheel off, let him really inspect that area to make sure he's not leaking stuff on the racetrack, but they're letting him go back out.
54 laps to go. 11 caution flags thus far.
Here we are riding along.
Chuck Bound's car.
Chuck Bound's car. Get straight here.
So Butch Miller is the leader. Steve Grissom is 2nd. Ricky Craven is 3rd. Bobby Dotter is 4th. Joe Nemechek up to 5th. He got around Tommy Houston, who is 6th. Mike Wallace is 7th. Todd Bodine is 8th. Tom Peck is 9th. David Green is 10th. Chuck Bound has the 11th spot. And those cars are on the lead lap as we get ready to go back to green.
I'm not so sure that the 31 car of Grissom's best shot to get around the 75 is right after the start of the race. Right on the restart is when he's going to have to jump on it.
Whose tires come back to temperature the quickest? That'll be the question. It's Hoosier against Goodyear for the lead and the win here at Hickory. 52 laps to go. We're under green. Grissom had a look on the bottom.
Taking more than a look now.
Taking a bite.
Got up beside him right there. I was just saying, I feel like Grissom's strong move was to make it right on the restart because it looked like the 75 car got better as they ran. He was able to get away from Grissom's son.
He was paying attention, Professor Bonnet. That was the move, but he has not yet cleared Butch Miller.
No, Glenn had noticed from the pits that the 31 car would get a little bit loose after a few laps. If the 75 can make him work on that inside for a while, he might be able to pull back around him.
Miller is strong coming off the corner. Draws dead even again at the start-finish line. That would have been a dead heat had it been the last lap.
And there's not any room between these two cars. When you're in a race like this, the 31's leaning to the right, the 75's turning hard left. They're just laying on each other up and down off these corners. You got to make your own room on this size racetrack.
Doesn't get much better than this. Ricky Craven looking in. He hasn't decided who to go with. Not that the air would be much of a factor here, but...
Yeah, but I'll tell you what happens. When these two cars are going at it this hard, they can both get their tires in bad shape.
Trouble in 4. Rodney Combs in the fence. Jeff Burton runs into Sadler. Here comes the pack trying to get back to the line before the leaders come around. And who will be the leader? Here they come, two abreast. Grissom waving frantically, and everybody slows down. Butch Miller has to take the long way around. What a tough break.
When he did that, he came up 4th place. He was moved to the outside. And when he went around those cars, it moved him all the way back to 4th place.
Lap 253 is the incident. Hermie Sadler, Rodney Combs, a couple other cars involved. Let's show it to you here. Jeff Burton in the 8 was in it. Tommy Houston up there, too. Whoa.
Nose to nose right there when he turned him around. But the key was when this car, the 57, couldn't help it, he got stopped right directly in the middle of the pack. And as they came on around, the other cars just had to split them. The 3 leaders went to the inside. The leader, which was 75, went outside, and he dropped back to 4th place.
Hey, did I say Sadler? That's Jason Keller, who's involved in 57, the South Carolina driver. 45 laps to go. The field keeps getting a little bit thinner here at Hickory, North Carolina. We'll be right back live on TNN. Welcome back to Hickory. They have displayed the red flag on this race. And here's a look at the dead car park. Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett's cars out of this race with major damage. Rodney Combs' car has just been added to that group. And that of Bobby Hamilton. You can see all the oil they are cleaning up from Jason Keller's car.
Yeah, the reason they had the red flag, it must have knocked an oil cooler or something off the front of one of these cars and just put oil all the way across the track. And on a track this size, you just feasibly can't get the truck out there and work in between the traffic riding around, so they had to stop them.
Well, we've talked about how tough it is to come up from the back of the pack. Trouble here befell the leaders as well. Let's show you this replay one more time. We'll let this go a little further here. First, the incident.
There we see them already. Looked like the 2 white cars got together up there in front, and they stacked up. 57's going to back down right in the lane, and that's what he needed to do. He needed to lock it down there. Don't let it roll down, or he'd got in front of these other cars. But where the problem occurred, look, here comes the leaders. There was a 75, went around the car. The other 3 cars that were fighting for the position went right on the bottom, bumped him all the way back to 4th.
Well, and again, Ricky Craven was using that lapped car, that stalled car, as a pick. Butch Miller had to go around the outside. Now, this is not the wrecked cars. Well, not the really wrecked cars.
Not yet. They're waiting for the restart. They're parked on the back straightaway.
From Chuck Bound.
Here he comes up off the second turn down the back straightaway. We see right out the left, see Chuck throw his hand up. He sees the wreck start. He almost got it stopped. See, he got hit in the rear also. That's what I said earlier. Even though you see a wreck in front of you, you've got to try to get on through there. He shifted gears to go on, but before he did, somebody popped him in the rear anyway.
Yes, run through it or get run over. Well, for the first time today, we may be able to clearly hear what Glenn has to say.
Well, I hope it's worthwhile, Mike.
Yeah, I know it will be.
Something that you want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm standing by with Jason Keller, rookie contender out of Greenville, South Carolina. His was the car number 57 that seems to get the worst into that deal. Jason, glad to see you're okay, but what happened out there?
I don't know exactly what happened. I was following the 1 car there, and something must have broke on his car. I don't know, and he lost it, and I couldn't do anything to avoid it. You know, we're running pretty good. It's the first time we've ever been to Hickory, so it's a tough racetrack. I never knew it's so tough. I always heard it was tough, but we're an unsponsored team. We were just trying to finish, and this really hurts us, but we'll be back in Orange County, I guess.
Well, better luck next time, and that's a tough initiation in the Hickory Speedway, but take it from me, partner, you're not the only one.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Talented rookie and having a tough day of it here at Hickory. Well, the folks get a little bit of a break here as they clean up turn number 4. Looks like they're not too long from getting back under racing. There's a couple of Jimmy Cope fans from Florida. He was involved in that incident out there. That was the white car way up by the wall. The Lane Co 200 comes at you live, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday, May 23rd from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. That's going to be a set your alarm clock weekend of racing. The Winston Saturday night, May 22nd. The Lane Co 200 Busch race on Sunday afternoon, May 23rd. Live here on TNN.
Got them packed in here, hadn't they, Mike?
Well, after last November's race, it's no surprise, Neil. Again, the November race here was scheduled to be the final event of the season for the Busch Series cars, but now with the snow out at Atlanta, the rescheduling of that race will make this the next to final event for 1993. There you see turn 4 on the left side of your screen, all of that speedy drive.
Here's all
they're sweeping it up.
Here's all the guys parallel parked on the back straightaway.
And doing such a nice job of it, too.
Here's Chuck. I think Chuck Bounds went to sleep on us here while he's had a little bit of a break.
Somebody better bring him a coffee.
Yeah.
A little bit crunched up there in the hood.
In this type of racing, when there is an accident, the fans got all their little signs up here.
Did you see the Just Married sign?
Yeah, what's he doing at the racetrack?
Yeah. We're not going to go ask him. He may be one of those guys that said, if there's a race, I'm going to be there. I hope he said that before the ceremony. There's Steve Grissom waiting this one out. Well, there they are. Now, okay, he's just married, but to whom?
I hope it's one of those ladies sitting at least close to it.
Yeah. I hope so, too. You can see it's shirt sleeve weather down here in the Carolinas. Hope it's a nice day where you're watching this event from. Live on TNN. Word from NASCAR is we're not too far away from getting cars moving on the racetrack here once again. They're using a blower to take some of that speedy dry off the racetrack now.
Yeah, they have to put that speedy dry out there to dry it up, but it's like running in sand, so they're going to have to get it off the track after they absorb the oil that was put down, and it'll take them just a little while to get it out of the way. They won't let anyone around those cars. You see them parked on the back straightaway. The reason they do that, they don't want to get them near this pit area because some of these crew chiefs and mechanics will want to slip over there and make a few adjustments on them.
Yeah.
So in a standard procedure, when there's a red flag, they put them on the back straightaway or at least a distance away from the pit so no one can do any kind of work at all to the cars.
And they might restart these cars, run them a few laps under yellow to work in some of that speedy drive. But that's up to NASCAR.
Everybody might wonder why these cars are parked parallel. We always cut them. See, it's a little bit downhill. If your car doesn't want to crank, you just do like you normally do when it won't crank. You put the clutch in, let it roll down, and jump it off so they won't restart.
And there's the Busch Series inspector making sure nobody comes out near those cars. Let's go to Glenn.
Mike, do we have an award for the best move of the day? If we don't, we should. This is the Sunnyland Hot Dogs car of Kenny Gregg. These guys are locally here in Hickory. They run the weekly races. They tried to make the Busch race. Look how clean and pretty and straight this car is. Man, that might be the best move of the day. They didn't run quite fast enough to get in the race, but by golly, they sure saved their race car. It's straight. They can run it again. A lot of these guys got 2-3 weeks worth of work to do on their cars. So if there's a best move of the race today, let's give it to Kenny Gregg and Doug Holbrook and those guys that own this car.
Well, it's a beautiful race car. Why is it here?
Glenn, you're just trying to get a free hot dog. I know you down there.
Yeah. Now, can we go back to that shot? As you see the front end there of Jeff Burton's car, it's a bit stove in after that last incident. Look at, now there's the real bumper on this car, is that piece of round steel tubing, and it sits behind a fiberglass bumper cover, most of which is gone. There's a little ductwork that gets fresh air. You can see into the brakes, but that's the bumper right there, not that, not the plastic piece, the cosmetic piece. Just like the rubber bumper cover on your car, your passenger car, is backed up by a steel beam. This is the piece here that does the work.
Yeah, they put that right back behind that bumper. Now, here's a souvenir going to somewhere, to somebody's shop right there. That's where these folks hang them out of the ceilings at all these restaurants and everything.
Yep.
They'll probably make more money selling that hood than they did in this race today.
Well, up in Montana's here in Hickory, there's a lot of those bent-up hoods hanging up there, and there's where it came from, Bobby Hamilton's car. We'll hope to get this race restarted here at Hickory when we come back to the Hickory Motor Speedway. You're watching Busch Grand National Racing live on the Nashville Network. Exclusive coverage of the Mountain Dew 400 today on the Nashville Network has been brought to you by Mountain Dew. Get vertical with Mountain Dew. By Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it.
And by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. Well, there's somebody looking forward to Easter tomorrow. And we're getting set for a restart here. The Mountain Dew 400 is actually 2 races, 300 laps for these Busch Series cars, and 100 laps for Hickory's late model stocks. Tommy Houston's 2 sons, Andy and Marty, are both racing in that later today here at Hickory. Let's show you again the incident that put us under the red flag here. And it'll start just ahead of our camera angle on the left side of your screen.
Yeah, we heard him say that something might have happened to Rodney Combs' car. They said he turned around in front of him. See the oil in the track. The 57 got the oil cooler and the radiator knocked off of it, it looks like. That's where all the oil came in, knocked the cooler right out of the front of the 57 car. So it took so long to get it cleaned up.
Jason Keller out of Greenville, South Carolina. Then the leaders came past, and it shuffled the running order here. Steve Grissom is the race leader. Ricky Craven is second. And Butch Miller was right alongside Craven racing under green. He had to go the long way around, so he ends up 4th. Joe Nemechek nipped him on the inside for 3rd.
Got a lot of the guys pitting right now. They could not pit when that red flag was out. And this is the first lap around after they open pit road, and you see some of the top teams. See them working with air pressure here. The rule not to be able to change tires and the stagger and stuff, they just work with air pressure now.
All right, we'll be a few laps under caution here as we run off the speedy dry up in turn number 4. Chuck Bound, Todd Bodine, Jeff and Ward Burton, and Jack Sprague have made pit stops. We'll get the running order for you in a moment. Welcome back to Hickory, North Carolina. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet and Glenn Jarrett on TNN. Busch Racing Live with Steve Grissom up front. Ricky Craven, Joe Nemechek. Then Butch Miller in 4th. Bobby Dotter in 5th. There's Mike Wallace, number 9, the 6th place car. Tom Peck, the 19, in 7th. Number 6, Tommy Houston, is 8th. David Green is in 9th position. And back in 10th, also on the lead lap, Todd Bodine, who made a pit stop, as did Chuck Bound. 1 lap to go. We'll go racing.
There's a good bit of oil dry still up in the middle of 3 and 4, but these guys are ready to go back racing. They're going to have to be careful as they get in that area of the track.
39 laps to go.
Well, this puts you in an awkward position when you're leading the race. You know you've got to get out in that oil dry, and you want to be careful, but you got guys nipping at the back bumper and want to pass. So we're going to have to see what happens as they get this thing restarted.
Well, we're going to stay under caution here because of the moving around in line on the back straightaway. 1 lap down, we've got Hermie Sadler, Hermie Sadler, Jeff Burton, and Tracy Leslie as they got relined up here. So 1 more time around to get that line up straight. 2 laps down, Jack Sprague and Joe Bessie. Shauna Robinson 3 laps down. 11 cars on the lead lap.
That's amazing right there, as small as this track is, and the way some of these leaders were stretching it out, that there's that many cars able to stay in that lead lap.
Still a long way to go for the cars that just stopped and made adjustments. Todd Bodine and Chuck Bound.
On these restarts, we see Grissom leading. Got the 99 car right behind him. And just as before, this is when a driver will really try to make that move just as they restart, try to get back quickly. Let's see if that happens again.
Oldsmobile pace car has a big jump on the field. We're back to green, and Grissom gets a good launch off turn number 4. Joe Bessie cannot get back 1 of his laps. Hermie Sadler up on the outside, and Ricky Craven in 2nd, Nemechek 3rd, Miller 4th, and Dotter 5th. Clean run through turn 4. Here's your Napa Field standing update, brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
Grissom's got just what he needs. He's got a lap car in between him and the other guys that are battling for position. 3 deep coming off the 4th turn. See right behind there, there's 3 cars. There they go.
There they go.
Yeah, you just can't hardly do that. Now we're going to race back around the flag. Some of the guys trying to get their lap back.
And we're going to race back around to the wreck here, but nobody's going to get their lap back. Grissom holds the pack off, and he's hand waving to slow everybody down. Robert Presley was in that incident. So was Jack Sprague and Tracy Leslie, but the car that looked like a croquet ball being sent by the mallet was Jeff Burton, the Baby Ruth Ford.
Yeah, it is bent from one end to the other. It got damaged in the front area earlier.
Yeah, not all of that is from this wreck. Only about from the number on back.
Well, I tell you, that one here. Oh, there's Daughter stuck in the mud down here.
He's the 5th place car.
He's running good. He's caught in the mud down there in the bottom. Going a lap down right now.
I didn't see him involved in that. That's down in turn 1. Rained here an awful lot yesterday and last night. He slid off the track and he can't get up. Here's what happened.
There's the 3 deep that we saw back behind there, and you just can't run 3 cars down in that corner. They got together.
Butch Miller.
There's Butch Miller going around.
4th place car. Pow. So the 4th and 5th place cars get taken out in that. Butch Miller and Bobby Daughter, the yellow car down to the inside, along with Jack Sprague.
Here they're working on the 8 car, trying to get it where they can at least get back out there and run. When it buckles that back end down like that, get a lot of tire rubbing on. There's Miller. He's coming in.
Led a lot of this race. Doesn't look like any big damage.
Even though they have tires in their hands, it could possibly be the tires that they took off earlier.
Jeff Burton trying to get his car back out. We'll be right back to Hickory, where they are framming and bamming on Saturday afternoon, live on TNN. We're back under green. The car you see being passed is Butch Miller. He made a pit stop. The front end is all towed out on his car. Gets back out there, though he's running at reduced speed. He's not going to be a factor. He's a lap down. Grissom with the lead. Ricky Craven now. A lot of lapped cars separate him, and a big log jam in the middle of the pack as everybody deals with Butch Miller. Any car that wasn't dented, I think, got a piece of one there.
There's Joe Bessie. We see Grissom lead the race. There's Bessie getting on the inside.
He is 2 laps down in the 97 car. The AC Delco Auto Palace machine. He is racing Hermie Sadler there, number 25, for position. Don't check that. Sadler's only 1 lap down just prior to that last caution.
Grissom is really opening up a good commanding lead right here.
Craven trying to get underneath the lap cars and past, and Nemechek right with him. There's Grissom out front.
25 laps to go with Grissom out front. Good clean racetrack in front of him.
And the 2nd and 3rd place cars have cleared much of the traffic. Now only Joe Bessie separates the leader from this man, Ricky Craven in 99, and the 87 of Joe Nemechek. Fourth place car is Mike Wallace. And Tom Peck is up to 5th ahead of Tommy Houston and David Green. Jeff Burton goes back behind the wall with the Baby Ruth car. 9 cars on the lead lap.
We've about got them thinned out now where they got room to race. Had so many problems here right at the end. Pretty well single file. Todd Bodine trying to get up on the inside there under the 19 car, Tom Peck.
Jack Sprague bounced off the wall in 2. Nobody noticed. He just kept going.
There's Bodine and Peck. They're going at it.
5th place at stake there. Good battle.
Saw the smoke flying where they're rubbing tires up off that corner.
There's your leader, Grissom, left side of your screen. Here's that race for 5th. It's a dandy. Now, Bobby Daughter in the DeWalt car is a lap down after being stuck in the mud on the inside of turn 1, but Bodine moves up on Tom Peck. The Fiddle Faddle car goes into the top 5. Peck drops to 6th. Jeff Burton back on track, as is Jack Sprague. Now Bodine, though, with a lot of lap traffic in front of him before he can get up near David Green and the rest of those cars on the lead lap. A lot of smoke out of Sprague's car. Black flag is out on Jeff Burton.
They got so many cars smoking, it's hard to tell which one the flag's out on.
That's why they've got a number board on that flag stand. Sprague will have to come in. 17 laps to go. Make that 16 as Grissom comes across the stripe. And Sprague will pit perhaps for the final time today. Now, nothing separates the leaders. Ricky Craven. There he is drawing in on Steve Grissom.
Craven's running that line that he ran earlier, Mike, when he was able to run the leaders down. He's a little bit higher on the racetrack. Getting a good bite out there on the outside of the racetrack. There's Grissom. Saw Craven, the nose of his car come in.
Trouble. Turn 3 and 4. Mike Wallace is up in the wall. Lost it going into 3, and the 4th place car gets up and into the fence between 3 and 4.
Man, he come right down. He was trying to get out of the way, came right down, right across front of Grissom.
Now he's in the mud.
Yep.
The FDP Brakes Oldsmobile. Oop, took a little fender off. A little more fender off. I think he's got a flat left front, Neil.
Yeah, along with the thing, looked like he knocked the rear track bar around. Looked like he's running sideways. Yeah, look at the sparks flying out of the car.
And with 14 laps to go, another of the top 5 contenders is taken out. Mike Wallace.
I'm not so sure Ricky Craven wasn't closing in on the leader, but it's going to all come down to how good a jump is that left front flat like you're talking about, Mike.
Couldn't make the pit.
I think it's going to boil down.
The pit was closed.
Yeah. There's so many cars on pit road that's out of the race. I thought they were pitting.
No Winston Cup race tomorrow, but there is live racing on TNN. Plenty of it on Sunday. And a Speedway Sunday on TNN. The Missouri 250 ASA race will be live from Odessa, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you'll turn into that one. Right here on the Nashville Network. 1 to go. We're going back to racing. Can Steve Grissom now hold off the charges of Ricky Craven?
You know, Craven looked like he was closing in on him, but on these starts, Grissom seems to really be able to make a jump on the start of the race.
Now, Butch Miller tried to make a pit stop. At least they called him in. They were out there with the jack stand to adjust the toe in. Butch just drove right on past. He saw the board, 11 laps to go. He says, well, I can live with this. We're not going forward. We can't go too much further back. We'll just ride it out.
This is going to be important here. If Grissom can get away from the 72, clear him, and then Craven gets hung on the 72 in lap traffic, Grissom will get a little bit of a jump here.
Ricky Craven of the 99 needs a good restart here if he's to challenge Steve Grissom over these last 10 laps. Well, he got the start he wanted. He's out ahead of Tracy Leslie. And it's Joe Nemechek, who did not get a great start and is back there battling with Leslie, the lap car.
Here's Grissom. Boy, look right there. He's all over the back of him. He ran right up on him. Looks like his car's capable of racing with Grissom.
That's where he needs to be, but Grissom's been strong coming out of the corner. This time, though, Craven is right with him in 2.
Yeah, what you've got to be careful to is get protective of that lead. Grissom wants to make him, if he has to, try to pass him on the outside. If you're leading the race, you've got to protect that inside, but when you get it slowed down a little bit, the momentum on the second car, he can run it right outside of you.
8 laps to go. Nemechek is 3rd. Houston is 4th. Todd Bodine and David Green side by side for 5th. Bodine has it at the moment. 7 to go.
There's Craven working on the inside. Somewhere down through here, he's going to have to stick the nose outside and take a look at it, because Grissom's going to protect that inside line. Unless he slips, he's going to probably have to make that move to the outside. It's going to be tough to do. Grissom's giving him that little bit of inside on 2 over there, though.
But here's where the race is won off of turn 4, and Steve's not going to give him any room there. 5 laps to go. Nemechek is starting to reel in the 2 leaders. There's only about 4 car lengths separating 2nd from 3rd.
Grissom's car is getting really loose up off the corner.
As it was earlier.
Yep, the back end got real loose. The closer that the 99 car can stay to him, even on this side of the racetrack, the more he's going to make that 31 car loose.
But can Craven dive under him? I don't think so.
It's going to be hard to do. It went around a lap car. Craven lost some ground that time.
3 to go.
This is one of these deals where you can catch a guy, but getting around him is a different situation on a track this size. Craven can run right up behind him like he did just then.
2 laps. Craven's caught him. Steve Grissom will face the white flag this time around. Looking for his first win since Volusia County Speedway last 4th of July.
Craven's he's going to do it. He's going to have to do it up off of the second turn. He's going to get him a wide swing. There he goes. He's trying that outside lane. Just like we was talking about. He had to take a look at it.
Grissom up to block. Here's Craven on the outside, looking to make the dive low and can't do it. Steve Grissom will win it.
Good run for Grissom. I tell you, he survived this thing. Ran good at the end when you needed to.
The Channel Lock Chevrolet, owned by Wayne Grissom and wrenched by Bryant Frazier, will go to victory lane for the 29-year-old driver from Gadsden, Alabama. Grissom has started 9 races here. It's his first Hickory victory. Finished 4th here in June of '91, previously his best finish at this racetrack. So Steve Grissom picks up a big win, and he becomes the 2nd Busch Series regular to win this season. He's coming off a 3rd at Bristol last week and had a 4th at Rockingham. His best efforts this season. This is the 7th career victory in the Busch Series for Steve Grissom. We'll meet him when we return to Hickory Motor Speedway right after these messages. Well, he survived 13 caution flags and made a late pit stop to come back and win it. Let's meet Steve Grissom in victory lane. Here's Glenn.
Well, that's Kyle Grissom you're looking at there, and the way things look here, he's the big winner for today. Steve Grissom, great job there. Congratulations on a good win. You really like this place, don't you?
Well, I tell you, Hickory, we've always run pretty decent here, and today we thought we had something for qualifying, but we wound up there qualifying 24th, and from that we knew we had a good race car and you had something to race them with, and it was 300 laps is a long race here, so it's just kind of buys you time and you know, work your way up. And I tell you, the guys' pit strategy today, it was super, and you know, I tell you, that call's what won the race for us.
Well, I was down in turn 4, coming off of turn 4 a lot during the race, and I saw your car. I saw you fighting that steering wheel. I see you grinning a little bit now. Looked like it had a tendency to get a little loose off the 4.
Well, actually, what it was doing, Glenn, was pushing, getting, or in the middle of the corner, and we kind of having to crank over on it and trying to get wide open, and you know, eventually the back end caught up with the front end. But you know, we talked about making an adjustment there, and we decided since we'd waited there with 100 laps to go to pit that we'd leave the car alone, leave what we practiced and what we knew, or at least what we thought would work pretty decent. And you know, that call paid off for us, and here we are.
Well, again, congratulations on a job well done. You own the track record here at Hickory. Now you've got a victory in the record book, so good day for Steve Grissom.
Man, I tell you, I always wanted to win a race here at Hickory. Like you said, got the track record, and that means a lot. And to think all the guys that's raced here, and to be able to win a race here at Hickory tickles us to death. And we're just glad to do this for Channel Lock.
There's a big sign behind Steve Grissom, says birthplace of the NASCAR stars, and at least one in the making right here today. Let's show you our Hardee's race summary, brought to you by Hardee's. Are you ready for some real food? Look at the race leaders: Irvin, Craven, Ernie Irvin again, Mark Martin, Ricky Craven again. They traded it all back and forth the first half of this race. Joe Nemechek went to the front. He pitted. Chuck Bound took over. Butch Miller had a run there until he got in that scrape, and then Steve Grissom led it the rest of the way in the last 50 laps.
Looked like the key, Mike, was just to survive the thing and have enough race car under you at the end where you could race someone. We saw the guys that ran 2nd, 3rd be involved in accidents. Grissom got his car beat up a little bit, but he had enough at the end to pull it out. And
that's the key here, Neil, just survival. We talked about whether that early or late pit stop strategy would work better, and you know, for Steve Grissom, that late stop seemed to work out a little better. Let's take you back through the field here. Grissom the winner, Craven 2nd, Nemechek 3rd, Houston, Todd Bodine were the top 5, and Bodine was just barely a car length ahead of David Green. They were together at the finish. Tom Peck, Chuck Bound were all in the lead lap. Hermie Sadler and Mike Wallace finished 1 lap back. That's the top 10 as we have them unofficially here. After them, again, unofficially, Bobby Daughter, Tracy Leslie, Joe Bessie, and Butch Miller. That'll take you back through about 15th place. Here's Glenn.
Well, a very happy Ricky Craven, and good 2nd place finish. That's one of your guys' best efforts. You got to feel really pleased about that, Ricky.
I really do. I told you earlier, we got to take advantage of these Hickories and Rougemonts. This is where I was brought up, and I tested that DuPont paint today. Got a little on the wall, got a little on some of the competitors, but it's tough stuff. The Chevrolet was tough, and the guys did a great job. And you know, we're young, and we've come a long way in 2 or 3 months, and I really think the sky's the limit if we continue to work hard. And you know, this is the key ingredients here, is to be determined and work hard, and I know we're going to make it.
Well, I think they will too. Since the addition of David Lovendahl as their crew chief, things have really gone well for these guys. They've turned it around, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. Good job, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Well, they've looked strong, Neil, and again, for the second time in less than a year, he's come real close to winning here. Bobby Daughter had a great run. Boy, was running right up there in the top 5 until
He got down in the mud. Mike Wallace, the same thing. Butch Miller had a chance to win this race. Ernie Irvan seemed to dominate it until his car found the wall. Best thing about Hickory is you never know. Sears Craftsman, a line of 1,600 hand tools made in America and guaranteed forever, presents the Busch Series point standings for you. David Green is still the leader, but you'll see Steve Grissom has now climbed within 31 points of the lead. Joe Nemechek just another 8 points back. Robert Presley and Hermie Sadler. ASA Racing on TNN tomorrow, Easter Sunday. For Neil Bonnet and Glenn Jarrett, I'm Mike Joy congratulating Steve Grissom on his victory in the Mountain Dew 400.